What's going on, everyone? It is July 9th, a Friday here in the market. I took one trade. I tried to get filled on two, but I was not able to get filled on that trade. I took a PayPal and I could not get filled on the Boeing trade. So let's get right into the video. So I'm going to keep this as short and sweet as possible while packing it filled with some instructive lessons that hopefully you guys can learn from my trades and my thought process as well. So first things first, we had a little bit of a sell-off yesterday. I have NQ pulled up here. And in the overnight session, it kind of traded in a range here. So I said to myself when I woke up, all right, I'm not going to take anything or any trades until NQ kind of showed some strength or showed, some kind of direction here. And it finally broke out and around 10:40, 10:45-ish. Then I said, all right, now it's looking good. Now it's, equities are looking good. That's not to say you didn't have to take a trade before then, but that's just when I had the best conviction or the most confidence to take a trade. And I said, all right, if we break out of this little range here, we're most likely going to test this 14,775 level, which is exactly what happened. I did not take calls. It would have been a great play, but I did not. And so that's kind of just what I do. Same thing with ES. Looked good. We had a nice overnight session. We just trended higher and, making all-time highs here and looking good to the upside. So I knew that calls were going to be the way to go today, obviously. There's really no need to play puts until about the 4215, 4200 level of ES. The trend is still up and still intact and going strong. All right, so first trade, or the trade that I actually got filled on was PayPal. Let's just take a look at the overall daily chart. As you can see, that PayPal is doing strong. I mean, what isn't doing strong these days? But PayPal looking nice today. We gapped up a little bit, and we're definitely going to see all-time highs very shortly. Maybe next week or the week after that, or probably next week actually, depending on what the market does, of course. But probably soon. All right. So first things first. The level that I was looking at was around 298, the 298 area. Not too convinced about this level, but it was more of the 300 level that I was looking at, since 300 is a huge psychological level, and we're making this nice strong push. That is kind of the trade thought process. So I saw that PayPal kind of had relative strength. It was really following NQ. Because remember, NQ kind of broke out around here. And if we were playing that 298 break that I was talking about earlier, this would have been a good place to enter, which was this sort of retest right here. I love this little retest. This is a beautiful, beautiful entry. I've seen this a lot. I'm definitely looking to incorporate this little entry technique into my own trading. What I mean by this is what happens is we have a nice strong push. We had increasing volume at the time, you can see. And then this little dip down. This little dip down basically means that, all right, institutions are ready for a rocket fuel higher. They're saying, all right, all aboard. We're coming back down and we're ready to take off. So what this looks like on a 1 minute time frame, just as to show you guys a little bit clearer, is it looks like, this little red candle here. We kind of had a dip here. This is kind of, it's a little bull flag even too. It's kind of fueling for the move higher. So what that would have looked like if I entered there. I was paying attention to other names such as Boeing at the time, so I missed it. But I love this little rocket fuel entry. It's kind of like a NASCAR driver when they slingshot each other. But I'm trying to think of a good analogy. I just can't right now. But think of it. We're going up. You kind of consolidate a little bit and then push higher for the move higher, and that's a full dollar right there. That's a beautiful day. In 10 minutes even. In 10 minutes, that would have been a beautiful, beautiful trade. Did not take it as I was paying attention to other things. But the idea behind this trade, if I entered here, was relative strength, 300 psychological level, NQ showing some strength, ES showing some strength, increasing volume too. Not the volume I would like to see, but nonetheless, some decent volume compared to previous days. As you can see, we're still lacking volume as it is a Friday, so that's why you had to be quick. Not the highest of probability trades, but nonetheless, I really like this entry technique. This is something that I've been seeing a lot lately. All right, so let's get into the trade that I actually took, which was right here. I'll show you my entry, which was right about here. Actually, I can show you because yeah. So it was right about here. It was this little flag break that you can kind of see. What I did today, though, was I was having trouble seeing volume. And here's another good lesson. I was really having trouble seeing, volume, volatility, momentum today, or just in general. So what I did was I went down to a 1 minute time frame. I really, really do not encourage trading off a 1 minute time frame, but this just helped me see, the VVM, the volume, volatility, momentum that Carmine talks about all the time. And this is what I saw. So now you're already seeing, oh my goodness, it's a 1 minute RBNR. Obviously, again, do not trade off. I really don't encourage trading off a 1 minute time frame just because there's a ton of noise. But I, somewhat did today, but I also did not. I took my entries. I always take my entries on at least a 5 minute time frame. But the 1 minute time frame is a good illustration. So what I really liked about this sort of 1 minute time frame is it's so nice to see the momentum building up here. You can kind of see, as long as you understand the 1 minute time frame, then I see no problem in using it or helping you guide your trades. You can even see that there was sort of a little bit of a wedge pattern here, a little bit of a flag pattern, triangle, whatever you want to call it, with something increasing. So the confirmations for this trade was the 300 psychological level, and that's a huge number. Relative strength, NQ and ES both pushing up. We had higher lows, here on the 1 minute time frame, which is a lot easier to see. And also this 1 minute RBNR breaking out of this pattern, which was beautiful. So I actually got in right as we broke the high of this 1 minute candle at 11:22 here. And I did that on a 5 minute candle, of course, but this is a super, super nice way to enter if you just want to see, volatility, volume, momentum increasing. So, and I really like this thick-bodied candle at 11:20 here. There was a little bit of a volume spike. That's what I like to see. I like to see low volume on a basing candle because it lets me know that we're getting ready for a move higher. And then we saw another volume spike. So I was in the trade at 11:22. Let's go back to a 5 minute chart where I manage my trades. Sometimes I even on a 15 minute just to reduce anxiety or stress. And I saw this great push immediately. My target was 300, and my stop loss would have been a close below my entry level. I like to keep it tight. It just helps me somewhat tight. So probably below. I shouldn't say probably. It was below this sort of 298.40 level, this 298.5 level, sort of just below the flag rather. And my target was 300. And it was a beautiful, beautiful trade on my end. We got this great push up, and if I, was playing a lot of contracts, I probably would have scaled one here, but I wasn't. Just trying to gain some of my confidence back. So first things first, I, just waited and waited, and my exit, which the timestamp reads 11:31, which was right here. So not exactly 300. I should have waited for the candle close, but it wasn't moving as fast as I wanted it to. So actually I'll just draw an arrow here so it's a little bit easier to see. Got out on this 11:31 candle right here. As you can see that the candles weren't showing the volume, volatility, momentum that I wanted to see towards the 300 break. I was really hoping we saw this push past 300, get the premium spike and get out into strength. That was the ideal trade and ideal plan. It didn't happen, so I just took profits here. Again, I wasn't playing a lot of contracts. It was more of just getting my confidence back, getting my feet in the water. And so I thought this is a beautifully managed trade. And as you can see that, we're kind of consolidating here around 300. We kind of dipped a little bit, but we're kind of just sticking around this 300 level. So that was the PayPal trade. Let me know if you have any questions on that. The Boeing trade that I tried to get filled on was as followed. As you can see on a 30-minute time frame, we had this nice downtrend line that we broke here. I'll just draw it out so you guys can see it real quick. Not the strongest just because we've only had 2 touches, but nonetheless it was a decent break. And Boeing, obviously, as you can see, did not have that follow through that I wanted. Yeah. So actually, I'll just make the downtrend line a different color so it's easier to see. Apologize for that. I'll make it teal. And you can see that we kind of, had trouble here. We tested it, came back, tested it. and the entry would have been at 1108. So 1108 would have been right about here. So a little bit of a delayed entry. So it's a little bit poor on my part, but I honestly thought this was a beautiful entry and a beautifully managed trade. As you can see, let's go down to a 1 minute time frame. Again, I really do not encourage trading off a 1 minute time frame, but as you can see, it's just easier to see when explaining things. So this, a much better entry probably would have been on this 1 minute RBNR, because there was volume, volatility, momentum coming in, and that would have been a nice, $1 scalp. My entry, I tried to get filled on this 1108 candle, right as we were kind of breaking high of day. I really don't encourage playing high of day breaks just because it's such a retail move. But given this, and we had a high of day fail here, and that's when I would have gotten out, obviously. Also, look at this 1108 volume down here. Extremely high for its time. 11 o'clock is when FOMO hour kicks in, but we had a little bit of a volume spike. I would have liked to get in on the previous candle, but as you can see, as soon as we broke out of this mini wedge, mini triangle, we kind of took off, and it just didn't have the follow through that I wanted. That's trading. Sometimes it's important to figure out the ability to adapt. We have to adapt to our current market conditions, but also the trade. So as let's say my stop loss was below 239, just as an example. Why would I wait until 239 for it to come down if I already know I'm wrong? I was wrong as soon as the high of day fail kicked in. I could have gotten out here short, but of course, this thing could have ripped easily. It could have held this trend line and could have ripped even further. If that's your trading style and that's how your risk is, then of course go for it. But given this major red flag of a high of day fail with decreasing volume or even increasing volume spike kind of thing, I knew that it was probably going to sell off, which is kind of what happened. We just kind of balanced, and the idea here was I was targeting 241, and hopefully playing this break up to 243 even. But I really wanted to get in before the premium spike, and especially at 241 as it's a key level. Didn't happen, didn't get the follow through, and again, look at this rocket entry that I have been preaching. Oh wow, that's not good. But as you can see, I'll just zoom in one more time so you can see it. This is exactly what I was talking about on PayPal. It had this rocket fuel entry where it's a nice push up. We have this baby dip and then this rocket fuel up. This is instead of getting the RBNR. This little rocket entry has been working out very nicely, and it provides a very good stop loss. As you can see right here at below this candle, which is where I would have gotten stopped out. That's where my tight stop loss entry would have been, because I was expecting a move, just a quick push up to 241. We didn't get that, so I immediately got out. All right, well, I hope that answers questions, or hope you find that instructive. Let me know if you guys have any questions, and thank you as always for watching.